now that our KVK has finished, a chapter has ended and a new one has begun. It was time to prepare for our next KVK, and that meant that I had to go back to do what I'm the best at, and that was of course hoarding. I saved up 756,900 action points and spent 48 hours to hunt Marauders in the first stage of the pre-KVK. My goal was to hunt down as many Marauders as I can to get the most amount of Kingdom Supply chests and get the best rewards possible. After spending 1.3 million action points to win a KVK honor push, I wanted to compare the overall drop rate and value between a KVK rank 1 and a KVK Marauder pre-stage rank 1 rewards. For this, I took a note of every 100 Marauders I killed to make the most detailed analysis and to give the best in-depth comparison between winning a Marauder grind and a KVK honor push. And in this pre-KVK, just when I needed the most, finally for once again, all planets have aligned. Psst, hey you! Yeah you! Do you want some fruits? So, after winning a legendary city theme in a Zenith of Power event and going all out against 2 Imperium kingdoms in an epic KVK, I was completely out of resources. So after the KVK has ended, we spent the next 2 months gathering resources, completing events and preparing for the next fights ahead. And we all know that the best way to get speed-ups and resources for a KVK is through Marauders. By this time, I once again have managed to hoard up 756,000 action points that I could either spend on Marauders or KVK barbs. Since I already had my fair share of KVK barbs after pushing over 500,000 honor points in 2 weeks, I decided to use my action points on Marauders for 2 reasons. The first reason was that I happened to be free during the first 2 days of the pre-KVK, which hasn't happened in a really long time. And the second reason was for content. But before the event has started, I had to actually prepare for it. The biggest difference between pushing honor ranks and Marauders can be explained in one word: time. While during an honor push, you have weeks to hunt barbs, the Marauder event only lasts for 48 hours, and for that, there is only one thing that can help you do it effectively. So before the event has started, I had to put together 5 marches that could compete for the rank 1 position. While during an honor grind, the KVK barbs are pretty tough. I needed tanky marches with heal to be able to keep up the grind. I also could afford to be slower as long as I stayed persistent, since there was plenty of time to grind. But for Marauders, you will spend most of your time marching from one Marauder to another, and since they are relatively weak, it meant that the only thing I needed was speed. I had to go fast and furious. As of now, there are 10 ways to get faster march speed in the game, through civilization, VIP level, formations, armaments, runes, troop types, commander skills, commander talent tree, and equipment, and a 10th slot for whatever I forgot to mention. Switching civilizations for this event only didn't worth it, so I stayed with friends. I was already getting 5% more speed from VIP 15, and I was still light years away from the big whales only VIP 18. Back when I recorded this video, the formations were not out yet, so I couldn't use the 3-line formation and armaments for the extra speed. Yeah, I know, it's been a while, there's a lot of content I need to catch up on. The rune drops from the Guardians are random, so I just had to keep an eye out for them. And we know that the fastest troop type is cavalry, and you don't even need T5 since T4 is a lot faster. So that meant that I only had the commander skills, talents, and equipment to get the desired speed boost. While getting speed through commander skills, things get a little tricky. I had 5 peacekeeping, 7 cavalry, and 3 both peacekeeping and cavalry commanders. I still wanted my primary commanders to be peacekeeping ones for the reduced action points cost and the extra resources chest, but none of the non-cavalry peacekeeping commanders provide speed through skills, so I had to rely on their talent trees to get as much more speed as I can. The peacekeeping talent tree provides 18% more speed in total, while the support tree provides 9%, mobility 25%, cavalry 18%, and skill 6%. So I tried to pick up as many points as I could from each tree. While creating my 5 marches, I had to keep in mind that while marching from one Marauder to another one, I'm only as fast as my slowest marches, so I had to pair the fast commanders with slow ones to keep their speed balanced. In the end, I decided to go with this setup: Cao Cao Saladin, Minamoto William, Boudica Nevsky, Lohar XY, and Belly Baibars. As you see, it was still not fast or balanced enough, but there was something that could help me fix that: the windswept equipment. Every piece of the set provides an extra 3% march speed with an additional 4% as the bonus for the full set. However, if you manage to create every one of them, then you can get a total amount of 20% march speed boost. I had enough materials and blueprints to create as many sets of windswept as I wanted. but creating 5 sets would cost at least 60 million gold on crit, which could go up to a maximum of 240 million gold in a worst case scenario if I tried to refine them to crit them all. Does it worth spending that much gold just for the extra speed boost for a 2 days long event? Probably no. Let's go! I use T4s to fight on the field anyways, I don't care about gold. First I made 7 pieces for my 2 non-cavalry peacekeeping marches to see if their speed was the same as the cavalry peacekeeping commanders. Time for some testing. Not quite there. Now it's my belly march that was slower. I went back and crafted 3 more windswept breastplates. Wow, what is this? Is it the special talent animation I never see when I craft the legendary equipment? I also started to refine some of them. Come on. Okay, the next one. You got this? Hey, first try! It was time for a second field test. Still not quite the same. Forged another gloves, refined a few more pieces, and finally, all my 5 marches were moving at the same pace. Perfection! Now before you think that it was a massive waste of materials, blue equipment can be dismantled and you get back 100% of the used materials. So after spending 140 million gold, I ended up with these equipment for my Marauder hunters. I also added some of my PvP gear for some extra tankiness. And with this, I was ready for the event. So without further ado, let the grind begin! Before the clock hit 0 UTC, I teleported into a less populous zone on our map, so there would be less competition and it would be easier to find Marauders. I sent out all my 5 marches in front of my city, changed my city theme to a cavalry health theme, took a screenshot of every item I had before the event, so I could calculate the final results better, and waited until the event has started. Then 11 minutes after UTC reset, the first Marauders have showed up and the hunt has officially begun. I didn't waste any time and immediately jumped into action. I was going from Marauder to Marauder, trying to find places where they were more concentrated, having the next one being targeted while defeating the current one. Just as I said earlier, killing Marauders take very little effort, but finding the next one once you defeated the current one is a different story. Once I found one, I was already on the search for the next one, spending most of my time checking the map for the next potential target, trying to find places where there were multiple Marauders in the same area, so it would be easier to hunt them all down. However, soon I noticed that my belly boy bars and my Minamoto William marches were not tanky enough, and their HP was slowly decreasing. Since I didn't want to waste time on fixing my setup, I decided to carry on and make big circles around my city, potentially returning these 2 marches to refresh them once they got near my city again. Getting points in this event is pretty straightforward. You kill Marauders, they give you satchels, you open the satchels, you get scraps. Once you have at least 1 scrap of every parchment, you can exchange them for Kingdom Supply chests, which gives you 7,000 points per exchange. However, I thought that by putting points up can motivate others to keep catching up to you, making your grind for the top ranks more difficult. So I decided to wait with the exchange till the end of the event and watch the top ranks from the shadows and take over rank 1 in one fell swoop. Because just like Sun Tzu said, let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. Since the action point cost was a lot lower for Marauders than it was for KVK Barbs, the Marauder event was burning AP a lot slower than the Honor Push did, which interestingly made this event a little more boring. But after 16 minutes of hunting, I already reached my first 100 Marauder kills. As I mentioned earlier, I took a note of the amount of satchels and gems I got for every 100 Marauders. I was simply curious about how the gem and satchel drop rate changes during the duration of the push, and if the myth about it getting worse over time were true or not. Spoilers ahead, it's not. Satchels were coming in at a steady rate, with an exact amount of 50 satchels for every 100 Marauders, with 61 satchels being the most amount I got from 100 Marauders and 27 being the least amount. However, as for gems, it was definitely not that steady. It was more inconsistent than my video upload schedule. It was completely random, sometimes getting as many as 430 gems for 100 Marauders and as low as 0, averaging at 120.64 gems for every 100 Marauder kills. But I will talk about the numbers more at the end of the video as always. I was dashing from target to target. I was a silent hunter, an inescapable death, the inevitable end of Marauder kind, as the time went passing on quickly. What? Only 1 hour has passed? Oh my fruits. It was going to be a long event. 1 hour into the event, the top rank has already reached 100,000 points. Then by the second hour, it was already at 385,000. By the third hour, I was already at 468 satchels. I decided to open them up 20 by 20, hoping that it would give me a more even amount of scraps for each parchment, and it got me over 60 scraps each, which would be 420,000 points if I decided to exchange them now. But rank 1 was already at 474,000 points. I had to pick up the pace. Since opening satchels never give equal amount of scraps for all parchments, I spent the time marching from one Marauder to the other one exchanging scraps with others to balance the number of scraps I have for each parchment. But it was very common that most people were missing the same scraps, making trading with others more difficult. 4 hours after the event started, I finally looped back to my city. I recalled my 2 weakest marches, refreshed their troops, and jumped back to the race. Soon after that, I managed to find a 7-person speed rune by killing some of the guardians at the nearby storm altar, so I could go a little faster. The hours were passing by. My screen tapping motions have become robotic. I have given up myself to madness, and I have become one with the Matrix. Wow, look at this pretty rainbow and waterfall, falling into the bottomless abyss. Back when I was in school, I really thought that only school can slow time down. Then once I started to work, I realized that work has that effect too. The hours I spent playing games always seem to go so fast. Well, not when you grind Marauders. It was slow, monotone and agonizing. And then slowly, by the 9th hour of the event, the top ranks reached over 1.3 million points. And by 11 hours into the grind, I already had over 260 parchments each, which would give me 1.8 million points. And then slowly, the event has reached its 17th hours, and I have finally used up my 50 AP bottles. I was already over 340 scraps each, which would give me over 2.3 million points. Haha, I was in the lead now, just nobody knew about it. By this time, I have been grinding for 17 hours straight. The question was up in the air. Am I not going to sleep? Am I not tired? But that's my secret, Captain. I'm always tired, but I can do this all day. 48 hours grind without sleep, here I come! And then I passed out. I woke up 6 hours after that. By this time, the top score has passed 2.8 million points. And finally, FCN had a representative in the top 5. Kel, one of our best fighters, was climbing up the leaderboard and was getting closer to rank 1. Alliance EV has taken over the top 5, with Kel now being the only FCN member on the list. Not counting me, of course, lurking in the dark. And an hour after this, Kel took over the first rank and reached 2.8 million points as well. And with this, the first day has ended. We were finally at halftime of the event, with only 24 more hours to go. And on the second day of the event, we have been blessed by Lilith. Not only the newspaper gave a speed boost, but it was also the day for the Clarion Call event. Thankfully, Marauders count as barbarians during these events, so by winning this, I could get more rewards and make this push more meaningful. But I was not the only one trying to win it. This means war. The grind was reaching its peak. Names were appearing and disappearing as the scores were increasing on the leaderboard, with everyone trying to get as many kingdom supply chests as possible. I kept on hunting Marauders, collecting satchels, trading scraps, and contemplating my life choices, thinking about why I'm spending so much time and energy on a pay-to-win mobile game with questionable quality and gameplay. But oh well, the things we do for rock. Then as time went passing by, our rank 1 Kel has reached 4 million points, and quickly after that got 4.3 million points as well. By this late into the event, I was very sure that nobody in the top 5 expected a new name to appear on the top. But little did they know that in the shadows of K77, in the forgotten lands of Zone 1, there was a fruit dealer lurking in the dark, with over 625 scraps of each parchment, ready to take over rank 1. It was time to show myself. Exchange, 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 exchange. I started to exchange my parchments and watched as my rank was flying up the leaderboard. I could finally relax and enjoy the fruits of my hard work, finally ending these 2 days of inhuman grind on a high note. And 625 exchanges later, I pushed from 0 to 4,375,000 points. From 0 to hero, from the last rank to rank 1. And with this, I took over the top rank and have won the event. Or at least, that's how I imagined it would go. But in reality, it was a terrible idea. The game only lets you exchange about 50 parchments in a row, or about 1 minute 45 seconds of doing so. After that, it warns you that the operations are too frequent. Please try again later. Of course it's too frequent, because you guys didn't install and exchange them all option. And the game won't let you do anything unless you restart it. So while I was busy exchanging and restarting the game a dozen times, I knew that Kel would keep hunting Marauders and take me over in points. So I texted him and asked him if he could stop exchanging until I was done with mine, so I could do this cool video of me going from 0 to rank 1. And him being an awesome guy, waited with his exchanges until I was done with mine. Thank you, Kel, you are the best. After this, it was just Kel and me, pushing each other in a very unhealthy competition to get more kingdom supply chests and to carry our kingdom, suffering through this event together, hand in hand. But at least, we were not lonely at the top. Soon we passed 5.5, 5.8 and 6 million points as well. Then 1 hour has passed and I finally reached 6.3 million points and 900 kingdom supply chests. There were still 4 hours left from the first stage, but it was 4 AM for me already. And I have been doing this soul-sucking grind for 34 hours with only 6 hours of sleep time in between. So I figured that this was good enough. There are no stage rewards in the pre-KVK anyways, so it really didn't matter what rank I finished here. The only reason I wanted to get rank 1 was for content. Maybe in the future event, now that the armaments and formations can provide more speed bonus, I can try to go for 1000 supply chests and beyond. Kel kept on pushing and eventually got to 6,790,000 points, which got him 970 kingdom supply chests. I got a second spot on the Clarion Call event too, which gave me 500 gems, 8 gold keys, 8 hours building speedups and 8 hours training speedups, and most importantly, an advanced army expansion buff. I also got a legendary trophy from the kingdom, thanks to Kel giving it to me instead of taking it himself. So after this, I dismantled the windswept equipment and got back all the materials I used. And it was finally time to open up the kingdom supply chests. So, what did I get by the end of this inhuman grind? And how does a rank 1 honor push fares to an almost rank 1 Marauder push? Let's get to the numbers. Before I show the numbers, I have to mention it again, it's not easy to track every number correctly. So there is a chance that my calculations are not 100% accurate. So consider these numbers more like guidelines than actual rules. So if my calculations and notes were correct, I used up 372,850 action point bottles, which if I add the action points I freely generated during the push, becomes 383,050 action points spent in total. With this amount of AP spent, I managed to kill 12,755 Marauders, which got me a total amount of 900 kingdom supply chests. Without opening these chests, just by killing Marauders, this is what I got. While during the honor push, only counting what I got from killing Barbs, not calculating in the Lohar's necklaces, supply chests and other rewards I got during the push, I got this. Of course, it's not a fair comparison, because for the honor push, I used up 1,267,518 action points, which is about 3.3 times more than what I used up for the Marauders. So while I know that this isn't that correct, but this is how it would look like if I spend the same amount of action points for Barbs as well. So KVK Barbs loot divided by 3.3. Those two are pretty close actually. Of course, it's not really the best way to calculate the difference between them, so let's go back to the original numbers and see the value per AP ratio for both Marauders and KVK Barbs. So if we calculate them into value per AP, this is how it looks. Not very surprising that the KVK Barbs give more stuff in general, since the Marauders are basically on the level of a level 25 Home Kingdom Barbs, while during the KVK Honor push, I was focusing on level 51 or higher level Barbs. Again, these are the rewards just for killing Marauders and KVK Barbs. They don't include all the extra stuff and rewards both events provide. So now let's go back and see what I got from the 900 Kingdom Supply Chests. And opening 900 Kingdom Supply Chests got me all this. So to put them together, this is what they got me in total. So now, if I add all these rewards to the loot I got for killing Marauders, then this is how it looks. So let's add all the other rewards back to the KVK Honor loot as well. And this is what the full KVK Honor reward looks. So, with everything all together, just by focusing on the resources, speedups, materials, gems, this is what the total amount of value per AP ratio looks for both events. So as you see, Marauders do give a higher value per AP about pretty much everything. But of course, these numbers can change, since pretty much everything I have used were RNG based. So these calculations probably would look very different for everyone. But even though the Marauder do provide higher value per AP, the KVK Honor grind also can give you KVK crystals, which you can spend on Crystal Tech, which gives you seasonal coins, which you can spend on buying the best equipment, gold heads and materials in the KVK shop. You can also get a few higher placements on the Mightiest Governor events. which potentially can get you extra rewards and gold heads for commanders. And of course, 40 gold heads for rank 1 is pretty sweet as well. Now if you're interested what rank 1 Cal got from his 970 kingdom supply chests, here it is. Thank you for Cal for sending me the screenshots. So with these rewards, I now felt more ready for the next KVK. All was left from the final preparations is to upgrade my commanders and equipment. But more about that in the next video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to know more about my future video plans or just want to be part of the community, don't hesitate to join our Fruitopia. I'd like to give a shout out to my Discord server members. Thank you guys for being such active members of the community. Also, I set up channel memberships as well. It was originally something I didn't want to do, but I realized that why not? So if you'd like to support the show, here we go. No pressure though. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Here are your well-deserved fruits. Fruity out. See you in the next video. Maybe.